this is it. This is my indoor setting for shooting on GoPro Hero 9. Guys, what's up? Welcome to the channel. Today in this video, I wanted to run you guys through exactly how I set up my GoPro Hero 9 for shooting indoors. Now I have two GoPros here and a few different bits and pieces. I want to run you guys through exactly, what settings I'm using on my GoPro as I set these up, as well as aesthetics, as well as using, both natural light and recreating light. So if you're down for that, stick around. If you want to check out some other settings, if you've got a GoPro Hero 8, I highly recommend you check out the video up here in the cards, which will be on how I've set up my GoPro Hero 8. That also gives you some thoughts as to how you could set up your GoPro Hero 9. But I didn't want to just make one video where I talk about the best settings, because there's just so many variables. There's so many options. I'm going to be setting up this space here, and as I roll through each of the settings, you'll be able to see them on the screen. Okay, so the light that I'm going to be using today is Amazon light. I have two settings. You've got 27 and 55. So the 55 is the bright white light. You can see that there, and the 27, yeah, it's warm. All right, so let's play around. Okay, so what I'm doing here is I'm just trying to create, there's already natural light coming in here. So I'll be using this light to frame up my shot somewhere here. I've got a second light there. The room's pretty bright, put it that way. Obviously there's no light up here, but if I slowly put light on my face, see how we can just completely change the shot? Yeah. Not bad, hey? Not bad. All right. If you guys are interested in getting yourselves one of these, they're super, you can just get them, links in the description. It's just so you can connect I think it's a 3.5 or a 3 mil tripod. It's just like your regular camera tripod. You can connect your GoPro to a regular camera tripod. I find it super valuable, especially when I want to use something taller than the GoPro Shorty tripod. All right, so as I set up my shot, I'm just looking at what's in the frame. I'm noticing that all those cables down there, super frustrating. They just make the shot look a little bit, I don't know, just a little bit crappy. So I'm just gonna do this. Quite literally out of the shot. Let's have a look now. Much cleaner. Just having a single cord, much cleaner, makes the shot looks nice. All right, welcome to test shot number 1. I'm shooting in 5K, 24 frames a second, shooting in linear with the horizon leveling. I have the maximum ISO at 200, the minimum at 100. I have the bit rate on high. I have the sharpness all the way dialed up on high, and I'm shooting in flat. I have a 5500 Kelvin light here and a regular lamp here. All right, welcome to the exact same indoor setting with the white balance now set to native. So now I'm just looking at it with the native on. Now I'm shooting flat in native. I've set the white balance. I really want to explore how this looks with a color grade. So this is now with a color grade. Pretty much, I'd let you color grade the image as you like. This is what I think looks good in terms of color. But yeah, I also now want to go back, take native off and set it to the 5500 Kelvin light as my white balance. So use that source light as my white balance. So let's just switch it up. Okay, I've just changed the white balance now to a 5500 Kelvin. So it's hopefully on the same frequency as this light. I'm also shooting in flat. My goal with using flat shooting indoors is to then add a color grade. So here's my attempt at color grading. I'd love to know what you guys are thinking as these shots are changing. Let me know in the comment section below. If you've already liked one of the shots, yeah, cool, shout out, let us know. Okay, the only thing I've done now is I've just taken it off flat color profile and I have gone back to GoPro color. I'm still shooting with the white balance set to 5500 Kelvin, okay, 5500K. Maybe this is your ideal setting for indoors, maybe it isn't. One thing I will note when I turn this light on, because this is like a down light as opposed to this sort of diffused light, there might be here in this reflection on the table, there might be a little bit of pulsing, but if we've set it up right and I've got it at the right anti-flicker according to the location that I'm in regards to shooting indoors, the first thing that you should do before you even go to set up your preset, swipe down from the top and then swipe across and go into your preferences and choose general. And then we're gonna go to anti-flicker. That anti-flicker is the first thing that you need to set for filming indoors. Basically, that's like setting NTSC or PAL on any other camera. Now, I'm in Europe, so I want it to be anti-flicker to be 50. If you're in Australia, I'm pretty sure you want it to be 60. Link in the description as to like region and what works best, but set your anti-flicker first. The thing with these lights is that we shouldn't be seeing any flicker or any kind of weird distortion to the image if the shot's set up right. Right now I've got a GoPro Color and I'm shooting in auto white balance. As again, just checking the light here to see if that's pulsing. And if I switch the down light off, I just have this sort of backlight, kind of gives a little bit of dynamic to the image. It's sort of one of the reasons why I'm using this sort of backlight as well as the side light. Creates some shape to my face. I'm not like front on and just getting like that light. So if I do this also, by the way, if I move that around a bit, it's gonna brighten things up. It's also gonna sort of blow out my face. Let me know what you guys think. I'm gonna move this light over here. And as I move the light around, that's where I think it looks good. Sort of balances the shot, gives a bit of fill in there. At the moment, the shutter speed has been on auto the whole time, but I'm shooting at 24. Normally, your shutter speed should be double your frame rate. So if I'm shooting at 24 frames a second, I can set my shutter speed to 1/48 of a second. I've chosen to set my shutter speed to 1/48 as opposed to using auto. I'm shooting in 5K, 24 linear. I also have my white balance on auto. I've played around with the white balance, setting it to native, also testing out what the white balance looks like if I set it to 5500 Kelvin, which is the same amount of light that this light is producing. And I'm shooting with GoPro Color. I also want to try this setting in flat and add a color grade. So these are all the settings that I previously had. I'm now just shooting in flat as opposed to GoPro Color, and I'm now able to add the color grade myself. The other thing which I think I would like to do, if I wasn't gonna digitally crop the frame, I am gonna digitally crop the frame, but if I wasn't intending on doing any digitally cropping of the frame because I'm new to setting up my GoPro Hero 9 and I'm new to using editing software, then what I might tend to do is reduce this width. Right now I think the shot is way too wide and you can see everything. You can see these hard drives here. So let's go from linear to narrow. So what do you think about this? I'm now shooting in narrow. All the previous settings are there. This is the same flat profile. This is with my color grade. This, I think, could be the perfect indoor setting. For those of you that aren't interested in color grading and you wanted to reduce some of the steps that you have to do in post-production, I'm now shooting in GoPro Color, so you can see exactly what this looks like. But I think this is pretty sweet. This is pretty sweet for a talking head video. If I take away this side light and I just use natural light, let's have a look. A little dark for my likings. So just changing the color of the image a little bit by using a warmer light as opposed to the white, sort of more surgical light. One of the other areas that I wanted to experiment with and test out was lighting versus natural light. At the moment, I am literally just holding the camera up to the window. It's a really overcast day. I'm not getting a lot of light from outside, but I'm getting natural light on my face, and the rest of those principles from today's video still apply. At the moment it's 4 o'clock, the sun sets here at 6, so there's not a lot of light left at all, but this is a workaround for those of you that just don't have lights. Shoot by the window. And what I mean is like, I'm literally like, there's the window. I'm holding the camera up to the window. You'll see, I've got all the same settings in place. I've got a light behind me just to give the shot some depth. Well, the answer is quite simply, it's not possible because a GoPro has an infinite focal length. It's capturing everything. The plane of view, the depth of field is infinite, which means there's no way you can get a blurry background. You can't change your depth of field with this camera. And I think that's great. I think that's awesome for beginners. But for those of you that ever ask like, oh, how do you get blurry background when you're filming indoors? It's not possible. You need to use a camera which gives you depth of field, which has a lens which you can create a shallow depth of field. I've just switched this up to shoot in the flat color profile. Maybe you prefer this, maybe you prefer just like a little bit more dynamic range in the shot. I sometimes think that when you use GoPro color, it can be super vibrant. So maybe this sort of more flat aesthetic, it's making, you know, the shot have a little bit more dynamic range. Giving this another little tweak, I just moved my maximum ISO to 800. I think it lets a lot more light into the shot and I'm still shooting flat. Maybe this is the perfect setting. As I move away from the window, you'll notice that it just gives a little bit more to the image. I think if this was to, you know, if this was to rise right up to the maximum, I think it's 1600, it's probably gonna get a bit too grainy, a bit too noisy. Let's drop it down to 400 and see how that looks. This is probably ideal. For this scenario, it's overcast outside. I don't have sun changing the amount of light that keeps flickering and coming into the room, which is another reason as to why, you know, why I would choose to use these sort of created lights as opposed to natural light. However, I think I prefer natural light in general, which is why I would shoot with a GoPro outdoors. But that's not the point of today's video. The point is finding the best setting and helping you guys set up your GoPro Hero 9 for shooting indoors. So I hope through today's video and through these different experiments, we are getting to, you know, we're just understanding what's possible, what is actually possible. I've gone back to GoPro color for this shot and I've also changed the field of view to wide. I don't think this is my preference, but it just gives you another insight into what that looks like. Also, as I move the camera from left to right, if I'm shooting directly front on, like sort of like this, you'll see my face, it's just a bit flat. As I rotate around, okay, I get a little bit of a shadow there on my face. And I think for these kind of shots, I think that looks good. I think as opposed to having it like, oh, you know, blown out, I think somewhere like there is really good. All of the settings that I've played around with are linked in the description below, so you can download that little cheat sheet and yeah, set your GoPro up for filming indoors. If you also come across any other discoveries, like I've missed something in terms of tweaking things, or I haven't explained, I mean, pretty much all the settings are listed there, so you should just be able to follow through. Alternatively, if you guys have GoPro Labs set up on your GoPro Hero 9 Black, which is now a thing, also check the link in the description. See this QR code? You can just pause my video whenever you want and you can just hold your GoPro up to the QR code and all of these settings that I've got here for my indoor preset will be loaded onto your camera, which is super cool. I'm gonna be making more content on GoPro Labs, but I hope through today's video, I've given you a really good understanding as to what works best for filming indoors on your GoPro. Guys, if you've liked this video, punch that thumbs up button, subscribe to the YouTube channel if you guys are new around here. Again, check out the GoPro Hero 8 best settings for POV or travel or just other settings if you're interested. There's more videos to come in this series. Can't wait to share them with you. I'll see you guys in the next upload. Peace.